Bay of Seven Islands by John Greenleaf Whittier. This is recorded to celebrate the 7th anniversary of LibriVox. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Bay of Seven Islands. The skipper sailed out of the harbour mouth, leaving the apple bloom of the south for the ice of the eastern seas, in his fishing schooner Breeze. Handsome and brave and young was he, and the maids of Newbury sighed to see his lessening white sail fall under the sea's blue wall. Through the northern gulf and the misty screen of the Isles of Mingan and Madeline, St. Paul's and Blaine Sablon, the little Breeze sailed on. Backward and forward along the shore of lorn and desolate Labrador, and found at last her way to the Seven Islands Bay. The little hamlet, nestling below great hills white with lingering snow, with its tin-roofed chapel stood half hid in the dwarf spruce wood. Green-turfed, flower-sown, the last outpost of summer upon the dreary coast, with its garden small and spare, sad in the frosty air. Hard by, where the skipper's schooner lay, a fisherman's cottage looked away, over isle and bay, and behind, on mountains dim defined. And there twin sisters, fair and young, laughed with a stranger guest, and sang in their native tongue the lays of the old provincial days. Alike were they, save the faint outline of a scar on Suzette's forehead fine, and both, it so befell, loved the heretic stranger well. Both were pleasant to look upon, but the heart of the skipper clave to one, though less by his eyes than heart he knew the twain apart. Despite of alien race and creed, well did his wooing of Margaret speed, and the mother's wrath was vain as the sister's jealous pain. The shrill-tongued mistress her house forbade, and solemn warning was sternly said by the black-robed priest, whose word as law the hamlet heard. But half by voice and half by signs the skipper said, "A warm sun shines on the green-banked Merrimac. Wait, watch till I come back, and when you see from my mast-head the signal fly of a kerchief red, my boat on the shore shall wait, come when the night is late." Ah, wait with childhood's haunts and friends, and all that the home sky overbends, did ever young love fail to turn the trembling scale? Under the night on the wet sea sands slowly unclasped their plighted hands, one to the cottage hearth, and one to his sailor's berth. What was it the parting lovers heard? Nor leaf, nor ripple, nor wing of bird, but a listener's stealthy tread on the rock-moss, crisp and dead. He weighed his anchor, and fished once more by the black coastline of Labrador, and by love and the north wind driven, sailed back to the Islands Seven. In the sunset glow the sisters twain saw the Breeze come sailing in again. Said Suzette, "Mother dear, the heretic sail is here." "Go, Marguerite, to your room, and hide, your door shall be bolted," the mother cried, while Suzette, ill at ease, watched the red sign of the Breeze. At midnight down to the waiting skiff she stole in the shadow of the cliff, and out of the bay's mouth ran the schooner with maid and man. And all night long on a restless bed her prayers to the Virgin Margaret said, and thought of a lover's pain waiting for her in vain. Did he pace the sands? Did he pause to hear the sounds of a light step drawing near? And as the slow hours passed, would he doubt her faith at last? But when she saw through the misty pane the morning break on a sea of rain, could ever her love avail to follow his vanished sail? Meantime the breeze, with favouring wind, left the rugged Moissac hills behind, and heard from an unseen shore the falls of Manitou roar. On the morrow's morn, in the thick grey weather, they sat on their reeling deck together, lover and counterfeit of hapless Marguerite. With a lover's hand from her forehead fair he smoothed away her jet black hair. What was it his fond eyes met? The scar of the false Suzette. Fiercely he shouted, "Bear away, east by north for 7 Isles Bay." The maiden wept and prayed, but the ship her helm obeyed. Once more the bay of the Isles they found. They heard the bell of the chapel sound, and the chant of the dying sang in the harsh wild Indian tongue. A feeling of mystery, change, and awe was in all they heard and all they saw. Spellbound the hamlet lay in the hush of its lonely bay. And when they came to the cottage door, the mother rose up from her weeping sore, and with angry gestures met the scared look of Suzette. "Here is your daughter," the skipper said, "give me the one I love instead." But the woman sternly spake, "Go see if the dead will wake." He looked, her sweet face still and white, and strange in the noonday taper light, she lay on her little bed, with a cross at her feet and head. In a passion of grief the strong man bent down to her face, and kissing it, went back to the waiting breeze, back to the mournful seas. Never again to the Merrimac, in Newbury's homes that bark came back. Whether her fate she met on the shores of Caraquet, Miscou or Tracadie, who can say? But even yet at 7 Isles Bay is told the ghostly tale of a weird unspoken sail. In the pale sad light of a northern day, seen by the blanketed Montanay, or a squaw in her small kayak crossing the spectre's track, on the deck a maiden wrings her hands, her likeness kneels on the grey ghost sands, one in her wild despair, and one in the trance of prayer. She flits before no earthly blast, the red sign fluttering from her mast. Over the solemn seas the ghost of the schooner breeze. End of Bay of Seven Islands, by John Greenleaf Whittier.